This is a presentation of the Campbell Interest and Skills Survey by Amy Doyle and Carissa Mueller. The Campbell Interest and Skills Survey was originally published in 1992. It is developed as part of a battery of assessments to test for skill, interest, and leadership. This particular test focuses on the individual, as the other assessments are designed for teams, groups, and communities that desire to see improvement in their level of functioning. Campbell originally worked in designing the strong interest assessments, so in creating these tests, he aimed to create them to be user-friendly, accessible, easily interpreted, as well as valid and reliable in the outcomes. This is achieved more concretely in these tests as opposed to strong, in that they were originally designed taking advantage of technology and its ability to implement these much-needed principles of design. One important difference in Campbell Interest and Skills Survey is that it does just that, measures interest as well as skill. By measuring these two factors, a counselor working with a client to interpret the outcomes can identify clear strengths when the interest and strengths are both high, as well as work to discuss options when interest is high but skills are low, and vice versa, when skill is high but interest is low. These two factors offer a wealth of opportunity for the counselor to help a client gain authenticity and congruency in their career planning. In creating the CISS, as well as the other instruments designed by Campbell to assess skills, interest, and leadership ability, his aim was to create a test that is easy to take, easy to read, and valid as well as reliable. By scaling the assessments on the same scale with a medium of 50 and 100 highest and 0 the lowest, Campbell clearly has been able to do this. Because this is a self-assessment, the main factor in predicting outcomes is human decision. Authenticity in taking the test is required for a counselor to work with a client to interpret the results. Campbell suggests the CISS should be taken while seeing a counselor for better outcome of reading the assessments and making decisions from its results. Campbell designed within the test procedural checks. If there are inconsistencies identified in the reporting, this is notified in the readings. More research needs to be done in how gender affects the outcome of the test. Women were 5 times more responded to a strongly dislike or no interest answer than males. The authors confirm that there are more than 1.5 times more items on the test that appeal to men over women. Although they did state that this does not affect the outcome of the test, it is something to continue assessing in order to create a test that may be more equal in gender.
The Campbell Interest and Skills Survey is appropriate for several populations, including those planning to attend college, those currently in college, and college graduates. It can also be helpful for adults considering a job transition, as well as individuals who find themselves dissatisfied with their current jobs. It may not be appropriate for individuals who are not at least old enough to be in high school, individuals who do not plan on attending college, or those who are currently satisfied with their current employment. The test is written at a 6th grade reading level to enable understanding across a wide population. However, in giving the assessment, this is an important consideration. This survey assesses not only one's level of interest in a certain job, but also their skill in completing that job. Skill represents a person's confidence in being able to perform a certain skill, not necessarily their actual efficiency. Therefore, interpretation of the test is done partly in a quadrant, where certain jobs are categorized into those to pursue, those to develop, to explore, and to avoid. Pursue is understood to mean an area in which the individual has high interest as well as high confidence, and thus should seriously consider. Develop is an area in which the individual has high interest but low confidence and should thus seek training. Conversely, explore indicates an area in which the individual shows high confidence but low interest and is therefore encouraged to apply their skills to another field. Lastly, avoid indicates areas where the individual has both low interest and low confidence and should therefore not consider. This method of reporting offers the client a lens through which to view both their level of interest and their skill regarding various careers. Once the employment possibilities are categorized into these 4 quadrants, it is suggested the client work with a counselor to identify actual strengths and pursue possibilities. In addition to the quadrant reporting, the CISS also has 2 areas of special measurement: academic focus and extroversion. The academic focus measures an individual's interest, motivation, and confidence to traditionally academic pursuits. More and more these days, many individuals are coming to question the value of academic pursuits and whether or not the financial, logistical, and time investment is for them. This part of the survey can both help a person leaning towards non-academic pursuits make this decision, as well as encourage and challenge individuals who do not perceive themselves to be academically adept, but measure high in the academic focus scale. The extroversion scale measures an individual's level of interest in working with people, which can be helpful when considering various roles within the same industry. For example, individuals interested in psychology can choose more socially oriented aspects of the field, such as social work or counseling, or they can choose more scientific facets, such as research, testing, and assessment. Therefore, assessing an individual's preference for working with people is beneficial in career planning. The Campbell Interest and Skills Survey is only one part of a battery of assessments. The full set of surveys includes the Campbell Organizational Survey, Campbell Leadership Index, Campbell Interest and Skills Survey, Campbell Hallam Team Development Survey, and the Campbell Community Survey. Having a battery of assessments that were intentionally created with the goal of maintaining characteristic consistency between each assessment makes the entire set of assessments user-friendly and widens the scope of assessment without having to combine interpretations and results from various inconsistent assessments together. One unique strength of the CISS is its availability in English as well as Spanish. This certainly gives the assessment an edge to its multicultural considerations over other assessments that were created around the same time. Critiques and suggestions for further improvement have largely centered on concerns as to the validity of the test's use of unisex occupational norms due to serious underrepresentation of one gender or the other in the criterion samples. In her 1999 review of the CISS, Boggs suggested a closer examination of the unisex norms being used, and one can only imagine this to be even more relevant a concern today. Lastly, the assessment is marketed as being available to B-level professionals, which is loosely defined as those having at minimum a bachelor's degree in psychology or a related field, or coursework in psychology or a closely related field. However, individuals may purchase a career planning package which contains the assessment and have their results mailed back to them. This stands in contrast to the typical professional application and interpretation of most assessments. Ultimately, this makes the test congruent with the growing self-help trend and is friendly to self-interpretation, but the author's stated credential requirements can seem contradictory and confusing at first. The CISS is largely strength-based in its orientation as it looks for pairings between high levels of skill and confidence and encourages individuals to pursue these areas. Additionally, it encourages individuals to identify their strengths and to use them to compensate for weaknesses, rather than A, disregarding areas in which they may have a weakness, or B, focus slowly on the correction of a weakness. The CISS also lends itself towards cognitive behavioral therapy as it can assist clinicians whose clients might be struggling with either a career choice or future goals. The clinician could use the CISS to challenge their client's thinking and/or automatic thoughts towards a certain skill or interest once those skills and interests have been discovered. Lastly, in considering human development and its application to the lifespan, the CISS could be beneficial for clients who are in Erickson stages of either identity versus role confusion, intimacy versus isolation, or generativity versus stagnation. These transitions can be made easier through psychoeducation and assessments that enable more creativity and different ways of thinking about the current stage the client is in.
Client number 1 in this case would greatly benefit from using the CISS. He is currently taking classes in community college. He has a history of anxiety and depression, including panic disorder as well as ADD. Client is not medicated for ADD as he experiences an increased anxiety with the medication. However, client says he hates school and struggles completing homework due to his anxiety and ADD. Client's girlfriend, who he relied on through high school to get through classes, left last fall to attend college 3 hours away. Client's goals for his future are to be able to provide for a family as a husband and a father. He does not see how he can find a career in which he is satisfied where he does not have to attend school. Client will benefit from this assessment as it will give him, as well as his counselor, additional information into client's strengths and interests, giving them an opportunity to explore together some options for his future. Client number 2 has been told his whole life that because of his high intelligence and leadership qualities, he's going to make a lot of money in business. It's expected from him to excel in business classes at high-level colleges. The client, who because of this pressure as well as other factors struggle with substance abuse, is not sure business is where he wants to focus his schooling. But because he's always been told this is his future, he's not too sure what other options will suit his skills and interests. This assessment will give him, as well as his counselor, insight into the client's skills and interests to maybe explore some other options. In taking the strong assessment, it became clear to me, Amy, that there were multiple areas in which I'm skilled but did not define my interest in using these skills. Taking the CISS would give me a clearer picture as to the definite area of interest, as well as those areas that need further exploration. With myself and clients, I aim to develop authenticity. In biblical terms, I desire to play the role in the kingdom of God for which I was uniquely created, and explore with my clients their unique roles as well. It's our opinion that this assessment has potential for playing a role in helping to achieve this authenticity.